My name's J.C. McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Hello, good morning. My name is Damon Benjamin of Walkworthy Brands here in Hartford, Connecticut, and I greet you all in the spirit of love and peace. This morning I'm going to use the 3 Ps. I pridefully have the pleasure and privilege of sitting down to have the opportunity to talk with Joel Cruz Jr. He's one of the candidates in this year's upcoming mayoral race here in Hartford. And actually what we're going to do is sit down and just have an opportunity to sit down and meet with him and talk with him. I actually know him pretty well, but for those who don't know, I'd like to introduce you to Joel Cruz and give him the opportunity to tell him a little bit about himself and why you should vote for him for this year's mayoral race here in Hartford.
Thank you for having me.
No problem, thank you. So Joel, as I said, I know you pretty well. I've worked with you sometime in the past, but for those who don't know, please just tell them a little bit about Joel Cruz Jr. and why they should give you your vote for this year's race.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thank you for the opportunity. You know, from my end, I was born and raised in the city of Hartford, and I grew up in the north end of Exeter Street, right in front of Johnson's Fish Market. But that's not the reason why people should vote for me. You know, just that the fact that you're born in the city doesn't mean that you're going to be the best leader for the city. I think what I would love for people to know about me is that integrity and accountability are huge to me. You know, I went to the military when I graduated from Hartford High, and it was in the military together with what my family was able to instill in me or put in me, which is just being honest about what you do, but also being accountable for the things that involve are involved around you. So when we talk about the city, it's important that we have a leader that understands the seriousness of accountability and that your integrity must be carried everywhere you go, because we have it could be so easy to fall into the trap of, you know, just doing things without people really finding out, if you want to say it that way. And as a leader, you got to be able to make the right decision and say, even if people are not going to find out, I need to be honest, I need to be transparent, I need to include our community, because as a city, we've been shortchanged for a very long time. Okay,
I somewhat agree with that. I understand that honesty and integrity is something that's very big for you, and like I said, me personally know you, I can agree that that is something, a staple that you've always been consistent on. Unfortunately, once again, we are talking about politics.
Yes. And
we do have 7 official candidates. And I don't want to, you know, go back and forth or anything, or even compare you, but I want you to just tell us a little bit more about what sets you apart from them and some of the plans that you will have, you know, if you are elected.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one of the things that sets me apart from them is I'm not in there thinking that I bring all the answers. The other piece is, from a lot of them, I'm not an attorney, and I don't mean it in a negative way where it's bad to be an attorney. I wish my daughter said she would become an attorney or anything else that's a professional career. But what I mean by that is that, you know, a lot of times people want to say, look, what we need in there is somebody that has the educational background, that has been at City Hall for a very long time. And what they don't understand is that we've had that.
Absolutely.
And it's just, it has not worked. And I'm not saying that somebody else that can come in with the experience or that type of background, educational background, won't do a good job. Again, it goes back to leadership. And so one thing that people will get from me that I'm just not seeing all across the board is that I am willing to say I don't have all the answers. You know, I said it yesterday at the debate or the forum. No one mayor has the answers to the city of Hartford. But the frustration is that we want to act like we do. And the difference is when you realize that you don't, and then you're able to go back to the people of Hartford and say, I don't have all the answers, I need your help. We need to come together and really come out with some solid and concrete ideas and ways to bring ourselves out of whatever it is that's not allowing us to move forward.
Absolutely.
Or to really bring a city that has unity and collaboration together. And that I bring that to the table. I've been able to do that at the council, where, you know, I'm able to work with my colleagues, and sometimes we don't agree on certain things, but that doesn't mean we can't work together for the good of the people.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now you mentioned you work with the council, and I know you also work with Catholic Charities, correct?
Yes.
I know you worked on different capacities in the fatherhood group,
yes.
and also you're director of a family center right now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now let me ask you this: in those capacities, now do you really believe? Do you think that a profession, because you even alluded to it just now, do you think somebody's profession or even the religious affiliation or what have you, because you're also a pastor,
yes,
correct?
I am.
So do you think that affects the decision, or will affect your decision making, or any decision maker if they're elected as mayor or to a official position?
I would say that I think it's naive of me if I said no, not at all. Even the reason why I ran even for office the first time around in 2011, I will be remiss if I didn't say that there were some personal things that happened in my life that kind of either pushed me or encouraged me to move in the route or take the path that I'm taking right now, because I don't consider this a career. This is really just a path. When the time comes up to say, all right, it's time to step down, it's time to step down. And so, yes, I would say that there are moments where these things kind of play into what your passion is and what your convictions are. But again, going back to leadership, you got to be able to separate some things and be able to work with people, work with all type of people, different personalities, different folks that bring different ideas, and you got to bring them all to the table and really say, all right, what works for folks. Okay.
Now, keeping along the same lines, just tell me a little bit more why you chose to dedicate your life to a life of service, because it's pretty demanding, time demanding. You have 2 children of your own.
I do.
So a beautiful wife. So how does why did you decide to kind of dedicate your life to this type of life and a life of service?
I think it started with my grandmother. She folks have heard this story. My grandmother came here around 1967. 5 kids, 5 children. My dad being the oldest. 5th grade education, did not know the language in a Hartford where things were not as friendly towards minorities.
Right, definitely.
And she was able to move forward, but not just move forward, she was able to, even with as little as she had, she always took time to help someone.
That's good.
And, she will always instill in us this saying that if I'd really translate from Spanish to English, she would say, those who want to make a difference do more than those who can make a difference. And I still live that today, where I might not have all the resources. I might not have the educational background that some other folks have. But what I have is the passion. I have the love for the city. I don't see one person better than the other. I see all of us equal in just wanting the best for our city, the best for our children.
Absolutely.
The best for not just the future of our city, but the present of our future. And that's what really makes a difference, and that's what drives me.
Absolutely. That's well put. Speaking about your passion, your love for the city, you being a longtime resident, living on the South End now, you grew up on the North End.
I did.
Unfortunately, we've had a string of violence, a lot of shooting going on, especially on the North End.
Yes.
Just speak to me a little bit, or speak to me and as the viewers as well. Just speak to us. Just let us know how that makes you feel. How do you feel about the violence, the shootings, and what do you think could be done about that?
Yeah, so the first thing I will share, 2 parts. One is how do I feel? It breaks my heart. Again, some folks have heard me say that I actually lost my best friend of 15 years right in front of the home where I grew up on Capon Street. He got killed right in front of Johnson's Fish Market, which is the place I always mention.
Right.
And he got shot and killed, left a wife and 2 sons, and didn't even know his wife was actually pregnant.
Wow.
So he never really knew that he was going to have a girl that he wanted for a very long time. So it breaks my heart that we don't maximize our lives in the city of Hartford. That when I think about my best friend, I think about, man, what would have become of my best friend? Where would he be today? Because he was actually going into the state police. So would he be a state cop right now?
Right.
What would he be doing for his city? And how could he be even more to his kids and raise his kids in the city as well and allow them to be productive citizens The second piece, what would I do, and what do I think about the ideas that we can bring to the table? You know, a lot of folks have actually come out public now and made it their own ideas, but I'll be very honest, and I've actually said it to newscasters that it was really my idea about, rather than just being more forceful with our police department, really bringing a community effort to it. And having our police department really be in contact or in touch with our communities. So rather than jumping to conclusions and then bringing the force, connecting with our Hartford Communities That Care and our peace builders and our faith-based initiatives that are, you know, they're really trying to do some work, and other entities who are saying, look, we're here, we're willing to help. And the reason I mention these folks is because these folks are the folks who are in contact, in touch with the people who might not be making the right decisions. And even those people who are might not be making the right decisions, I've heard through the grapevines that they're saying, I just need somebody to listen to me.
Absolutely.
And no one's listening to me. I'm frustrated. I have things that are going on and you're not listening to me. So all I need is someone to listen. And I don't think we have enough people at City Hall that are listening to these folks. What we're saying is we're marginalizing them, we're tagging them as just menace to society, and we're leaving it alone. You know, you're a menace to society, then get away from me. Rather than saying, you're doing some things you shouldn't do. Why? What's going on? Let's talk about this.
Absolutely, absolutely. That definitely would be helpful. Conversation is always well.
Yes, absolutely.
You brought up a couple different things about the community. From my knowledge, or from what I see, is there's an awful lot of charter schools, different CRECs, magnet schools popping up in the community. And I know that brings a lot of frustration to some of the people in the community as well.
Yes.
Just talk to me about how you feel of the landscape of education, and what effects do you think that would have on some of the community schools, or on the bigger picture, some of the public schools?
Yes, you know, I'm very careful when I talk about either negatively or positively about charter schools or magnet schools or any other school versus our community schools, because absolutely, you know, I'm a supporter of public schools. I grew up going to public schools. I graduated from public schools. But the reality of Hartford right now is that parents in our public schools are not giving good opportunities. And my job as a leader is to be able to build our community schools to that level. But I also can't be the leader that says to a parent who doesn't have that opportunity right now and say, no, you shouldn't go to a charter school, you shouldn't go to a magnet school, you need to stick with the community school. And I would love to say that, but I can't put myself in that parent's shoes. That parent has the right to say, I don't feel comfortable in my community school, I'm gonna put my child somewhere else, until we as leaders in community are able to bring our community schools to where they should be. And one of the ways we can definitely do that is by being consistent.
Absolutely.
I mean, we've gone through so many superintendents. It's like you look around and one day is this person, and the next day it's someone else.
Yes.
And so there's no consistency with our leadership in the educational system. And then the way we teach is one day is one curriculum, and the next day we say, oh, you know what? We hear that another state or another city is doing a whole different curriculum and is working for them, and we want to bring it to Hartford. And so what we don't understand is that Hartford is Hartford.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about what works for us.
Absolutely.
Yes, we can, you know, tailor it and look at other places that is helpful and that it works, but don't try to box us or pigeonhole us and just or take a cookie cutter approach. We shouldn't take that approach. We should really look at our kids. We should really look at our neighborhoods and really bring a solid, consistent teaching approach to our children. And the third thing that I would share that I think will be very helpful to our schools is that we need to start using the kick the dog syndrome. 1 year we say it's the teacher's fault, another year we say it's the parents' fault, they're not engaged, and another year we say, oh, our kids are just not wanting to learn. And another year we say, oh, it's our administration. I think we need to take all four, our administration, our teachers, our parents, our children, and really bring a collaboration and say, if it doesn't work, it's all of our fault. And if it's our fault, then we're all gonna work together to make this happen, to make it work, because I'm here to stay and my kids are here to stay. So I can't take the approach of like, well, you know what, I'm just leaving. If it's not working, I'm leaving. We need to take the approach of, this is our city, this is our educational system. How do we make it work?
It's our responsibility.
Absolutely.
All right, I agree with you totally on that one. You said some great things just now about the city of Hartford. Tell me, what do you think are some of the great advantages or things that sets Hartford apart from other cities? 1. 2, how would you use some of those advantages or some of those things to, or what would you prioritize, I should say, and show potential buyers, potential developers, and people who just are outside of Hartford? What would you use to show them that this is Hartford, as you said? What are some of the uniqueness things that Hartford brings that you would exemplify?
Yeah, the first thing I would highlight, which a lot of people should know, Hartford has so much history.
Absolutely.
And tied into that history, we have a lot of diversity. And I don't think we maximize our diversity enough. I don't think we celebrate it enough. I think we always try to tailor our things. And I don't mean this in any negative way of trying to tailor things to bring in people from like West Hartford, East Hartford. Yes, they're welcome because this is a city that's welcoming, right?
Absolutely.
And I want the same treatment when I go to their cities. But we concentrate so much on that we miss on the opportunities and the potential that we have within our own city. The West Indian community, the Puerto Rican community, but not just the Puerto Rican community, West Indian. We have, people from like South America and Central America and folks from Bosnia. That's a big community in Hartford.
Absolutely.
We have folks from Somalia who, it's a growing community in the city of Hartford, but not just those, people from Russia and folks from Nepal who are just a growing community in the city of Hartford, and we don't tap into that diversity enough. The other piece is our young people. So the 2010 census tells us that from the age of 16 to 25, that is actually our biggest group, our biggest age group in the city of Hartford.
Oh, really?
Yes, and so we spend so much time, politicians spend so much time using their soundbite is, our young people are the future of our city. And I always say, I work with young people.
Yeah.
In my church, I'm the youth pastor, and every other month, I gather over close to 300 youth on a Friday night to just have a worship service or bring kids together so we can just have a good time. And so youth is really the passion of mine. And in the city, I've been one of the few who every year I bring young people either for internships or I bring them to the city to just expose them to the different departments and the different opportunities, job opportunities that the city can provide or can actually bring out. And I say our kids are not just our future. Our young people are right now. They're our present.
Absolutely.
And we don't do enough for them to make them feel they're part of our present. We spend so much time on they're our future more than spending time on our present.
Now. Wow, that's a great point. I never thought about it like that. That's a wonderful point. There's a lot of talk about there's a huge controversy with the stadium.
Yes.
And downtown North, things of that nature. I know that you were for the stadium, correct?
Yes.
The yard goats, and I personally think that that's going to be a great thing for Hartford. But we do have a lot of residents who probably don't necessarily understand the magnitude of that project and what it can and cannot do for the city.
Yes.
First, just tell us, if you will, why you were in favor of the stadium. And what do you propose, or what do you think it will do for the city of Hartford and for some of the residents?
Yeah, at the beginning it was brought to us and it was put on our desk as a proposal. I will be the first to say, and I've said it before, I've been public about it, even when I voted for it, that the original proposal was just not the right approach. And from that point forward, the approach I took was more, if this worked, if it was to work, how would it work? Because a lot of times we only want to take the approach of it's not going to work, I don't see it working, put it in the trash. And I wanted to take a different approach. And I will be willing to accept my faults with whether people feel it works or it doesn't work. But we're at a point now where I need to say, it has to work.
It has to work.
It has to work, and my job is to work very hard to hold the developers accountable and to see it work. And that if I don't see that it's working, I need to work even harder to make sure it works, because I don't want to see the city of Hartford suffer out of this developer. And so when I looked at it, I didn't look at, a lot of people just look at it at the stadium. It was more than a stadium. This entire project was about $356 million investment. The stadium is only $56 million of the $356 million.
Very small piece.
Very small piece. And when I looked at it, I wanted to see the apartments. I wanted to see the grocery store, which right now I'm watching it very closely because there's been talks that it will happen, it will not happen. And I want to be very clear that my job is to make sure it does happen.
Absolutely.
And so I'm looking at the entire project and seeing how would it work. And if we bring jobs, yes, there's this talk of like, well, they're just minimum wage jobs, or is this or is that. But we got to start somewhere.
Absolutely.
We got to start somewhere. And I was also tempted to say, well, I'm not going to look for something that's quote unquote supposedly going to make the mayor look good. I don't think this is making the mayor look good or bad. I think this is just a project that's for the city of Hartford, and we need to look at it from that perspective. Okay. This is not about the mayor. All right. This is not about our current mayor. This is about the city of Hartford and what can we see work for the city. Absolutely. And the other piece is, tell me something that we can do in the city of Hartford where I can bring a family of 4 and get tickets for entertainment, food, and really be entertained for maybe $40. Well,
that's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
You can't even go to the movies for all of that.
You can't. I took my family of 4, which I enjoy going to the movies. I got to close to $70, $80.
Absolutely.
And so and that was just tickets and a little bit of popcorn and soda.
Yeah.
For me to be able to pay for tickets and watch a game and get food for a family of 4, you can't beat that. And we don't have enough of that for our families in the city of Hartford. I want families to feel that they can do things in the city of Hartford and really maximize on that. And I'm excited. I'm excited to bring my 5 and 16-year-old to the games and buy some yard goat hats and just laugh about it, and say
and enjoy it
and enjoy the game.
Sir.
I mean, that's really what it's all about.
I understand. I agree because I'm looking forward to it as well. At first, I was a little opposed to it because I just didn't understand. Yes. But that was just a great point. It's just a great thing that you could take your family out to do something new right in the heart of the city. So that's a great point. I wanted to ask you. I know your campaign slogan is "One Hartford."
Yes.
That sounds very nice and very catchy, slogan-like.
Yes.
But just tell me, what exactly does One Hartford look to Joel Cruz?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question because I want people to understand that my slogan is not a slogan that's trying to save the city. No slogan can save the city. People come and go and slogans come and go. This is really about a true passion. Again, as has been discussed, I grew up in the North End, and now I live in the South End. And I do too. And so I will be the first to admit that the North doesn't look like the South, and the South doesn't look like the North, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But how can we bring Hartford to be a united city with our differences, but a united city? And that starts with leadership. That starts with the person who has to believe it in their heart. And not feel afraid or give too much attention to one area and not the entire city. And I just don't mean that by funding. It's not just about pumping money into one place, because people like to go out there and say, well, I pump money here and I put money. It's not just about money. No. Walk my streets. Understand where I'm coming from. Come see me. Come shake my hand. Give me a hug. Let me know that you're there for me. Get out of City Hall. Get out of just the 4 walls of City Hall and go out there and really meet the people, understand the people. And that's what I mean by One Hartford. That, that when I'm able to walk the North End, when I'm able to walk the South End, when I'm able to walk the West End, that I embrace all our neighborhoods and really bring people together. And that really starts with having an open mind and open approach of just going out to our neighborhoods and bringing people together and saying, you know what, the South is different from the North and there are different needs. How do we meet those needs? But going further than that, let's build relationships. Absolutely.
Relationships are important. That's the only way that you will, from a community, from a work base, a church base, what have you, that's the only way that people will be able to blend together is building a relationship. So that was a great point.
Yeah.
A wonderful point.
Can I share something about One Hartford? I asked
Please.
one guy in the North End, actually on Homestead. I asked him, what does One Hartford mean to you? And he brought such a good point. At first, I didn't get it until actually explained it to me. He said, I feel like One Hartford is like one pot. I said, what do you mean one pot? He said, well, when my mother cooks, she makes one pot. And when we all sit at the table, you're going to have the same taste. Regardless of what plate is on, you're going to have one taste, and it's going to be one type of food, because that's all mama's going to cook.
That's all mama's going to cook, so that's all you're going to get.
That's all you're going to get. And I think the city of Hartford deserves to have one pot, that whether you're in the South or you're in the North, that you feel you're tasting the same thing, because that's what we have.
That's nicely put. That's
yeah.
That's wonderful.
So I got to give credit to him, because I didn't even think about it that way. But now that once he said it, I said, you know what, you're right. That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. See, time is winding down, and that was, like I said, an excellent wrap up on One Hartford. But quickly, can you just tell some of the viewers out there some last minute information on definitely why they should go out and exercise their vote in November, to give you the opportunity to be the next mayor of Hartford?
Absolutely. You know, I want to tell our viewers, I want to tell our voters, I want to tell even folks who are not registered to vote, who actually register and vote, and understand that my reason for running is not a egotistic approach. My approach for running is because I truly believe that the city of Hartford deserves a leader who brings integrity, and that it brings accountability to our city. This is not about, you know, Joel Cruz. This is about all of us coming together and really exercising our power, the power that we have in our hands, which is our vote, our voice, and really bring it forward that we have a leader, we choose a leader who can understand the power of collaboration and unity. And I understand that. I understand it through the work that I've done in the neighborhoods where I live, where I can say, look, I grew up in the North End, now I live in the South End, but I understand that there is so much beauty in our entire city. And so if you're looking for someone who can bring that passion, who understands that no one mayor can make a difference, but that it requires all of us, then I am the guy you should vote for.
Well put, Mr. Joel Cruz. In closing, I want to just think about something that Mark Twain said. You said something about beauty. You know, Mark Twain at one point in time said, you haven't seen beauty till you've seen Hartford. I totally agree. Only thing I would say, it probably got a little bit better since his days. It probably got, through, you know, just the works of God. It got a little more seasoning. It got a little more seasoning, more enhanced, if
That's
you will.
Right. We got many cultures here now.
Many cultures. It's a beautiful diversity. I'm so glad that I've been fortunate to, you know, be born and raised in Hartford. I'm actually my family's actually from South America too, so that goes to prove how many different cultures and different ethnicities are here in Hartford. I just want to say and encourage all the viewers out there and all the residents in Hartford to please go out and exercise your vote. Like Joel said, if you're not registered, go ahead and get registered. I'm sure somebody will be out there to assist you getting that done. Definitely invest in yourselves, invest in your families, invest in your communities, because that's the only way that the community will be able to flourish the way that it should and the way that it could. So definitely please take your time out to go out and vote. Be a part of the system that needs you. Be a part of whoever. If you don't agree with myself or Mr. Cruz, make sure you take the opportunity to exercise your right to vote. I want to thank Mr. McCauley, of course, of accesstv.org for having us or give us the opportunity and the platform to come out and do things of this nature. Prime example of business and things that make things thrive within the city.
Yes.
I want to thank you, Mr. Joel Cruz Jr., for giving me the opportunity for this sit down. And once again, just reiterate that everybody needs to go out and vote, be a part of the process.
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was my honor, man.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.